Hi, welcome back to Mr. Slover's Math. Today we're going to focus on solving the systems of equations, but we're going to actually solve the systems of linear inequalities today. So we have our warm-up where we're just graphing one inequality. So to refresh your memory, here's your m is your slope, the number attached to the x, the b is the y-intercept where it starts on the y-axis. And in this case, I have a greater than sign, so that means it's going to be dashed and shade above. So I start at -2. I go up 1 over 5. Up 1 over 5 is a dashed line, and I'm shading above. So anything in this area, anything in this shaded area is my solution set. Letter B. So I've got a less than or equal to sign, so it's solid because I got the line underneath, and I'm going to shade below because it says less than. Think logically. Where's your less than? Where's your smaller numbers? Below. In this case, I start at 5, and I go down 1, right 3, down 1, right 3, and I make a solid line. So once again, anything in here would be a solution to this inequality. Number 2 says state 3 different solutions to the following graph. And it says it's anything that's in the shaded region. So this right here is my shaded region. Anything in there would make it a true statement. So I listed 3 answers. However, I say answers vary because it's anything in the shaded region. You may have come up with something that wasn't these 3. That doesn't mean you're wrong. So now that we kind of got our thoughts geared towards graphing inequalities, let's get into actually graphing a system of inequalities. So you have to graph both equations on, or both inequalities on the same coordinate plane. You're going to make sure to use a dotted or straight line as well as to shade, and you're going to list a possible solution from the set. And that is where the shadings overlap. So similar to the warm-up, you're identifying the M and the B, and then you're going to graph. So for all of these, the blue information goes with the top, and then the blue for over here. So the blue information goes with the top, and then there's the line. Okay, so I tried to be consistent and match everything throughout the notes. The red obviously is the bottom line, and then matches this line. So I would suggest that you graph one of the lines first. So I start at 3, I go down 4 over 1, down 4 over 1, draw a dashed or a dotted line because it says less than, and I would suggest shading right away. Okay? So it says less than, so I'm going to shade below. I'm going to go to smaller numbers. Now notice when I shaded, I didn't have to color everything in. I just put a few marks. That's all you need for right now. Then I graph the other inequality. So I start at -8, I go up 3 over 2. And once again, this one is a dashed line, and I'm shading below. Notice that when I shaded, I didn't have to do a whole lot. I just drew a few lines so I knew where I was going. Now right down here where my cursor is, where it's the darker red, that's where my 2 overlapped. It became thatched. I had lines this way and lines this way. It kind of looked like a thatched area. And that's my solution. That's where they overlap. So anything in this region would be a possible solution. And that's what this says. Answers vary as long as the ordered pairs in that solution set or in the overlapped area. So in this case, I chose 2, -10. It doesn't matter where they intersect. That's not what we're looking for. Okay, potentially it could be an answer where they intersect, but at the same time, it may not be. It just depends on whether the lines are solid or dashed. So if possible, I would avoid using that intersection. I would just pick an ordered pair that is in the shaded region. Letter B, same thing. Identify the M and the B's. Graph them. Once again, I would graph one line at a time. So I graphed this line. I started at -6. I went up 9 over 7. It is dashed, and I shade below. And then the other line starts at positive 7, goes down 4 over 7. It is a solid line this time, and I shade above. And this is where they overlap. So anything in that overlapped area, or anything in that dark shaded region, will make a true statement. Okay, so that's why it's a possible solution. Same thing on the last one. The last one just looks a little bit different because notice nothing overlaps. And that's okay. You don't have to have an answer. Nothing overlaps, so I have no solution. There is no ordered pair that I could plug in that would make both equations true. Remember, that's the key to be a solution to a systems of equations or systems of inequalities. Whatever I take, whatever my possible solution is, I should be able to plug it back into both of them and make them true. But in this case, I don't have any answers that will do that. So that's why I'm listing no solution. So when you graph a systems of inequalities, identify the M and the B, graph the line, do the shading, and then go to the next line. Identify the M and the B, graph it, do the shading, and where they overlap is your solution set. Make sure, just like I did here, I darkened in where my overlapping was so I knew where that answer is, where the overlapping area is. Please make sure that you do that.